Hey, this is Rick from Railgun, and welcome to this week's blog post. One of the things that as business owners we really need to keep track of are key metrics, and a lot of them are accountant driven. Things like your quick ratio and that kind of thing, debt to equity. But from a business management point of view, there's a couple that I find very helpful. The first one is CPS, which is cost per sale. So if you're familiar with CPL, or cost per lead, you should have a pretty good idea how this works. So what you're doing is you're keeping track of how much you're spending for each sale that you're making. Now, as a raw number, you got to be a little careful because, like CPL, it can be misleading. So if you get 100 leads at a penny each and none of them buy anything, that's not as good as paying $100 for a lead that eventually pays you $10,000. So as far as raw numbers go, 100 leads is better than one, but as far as profitability and business goes, the one is definitely better than the 100. And it's the same with cost per sale. But you need to keep an eye on that one so that you can track the effectiveness of your entire marketing funnel. CPS will track it all the way to the bottom. CPL will only track the top layer. The next one you want to keep track of, and that ties right into what I was just saying, is LCV, which is lifetime customer value. So assume that you have a restaurant and your average ticket at the restaurant is $100. Well, if somebody comes in, has one meal and leaves, that customer is worth $100. But if you can track it and get that customer to come back again and again and again, and let's say you can maintain that client for, let's say 5 years, so that's 60 months, and you can get them to come back once a month for 60 months at $100 each. Well, that's a $60,000 lifetime customer value. And when it comes to determining what you can now pay for your initial CPS, that number goes up dramatically. So again, let's say you spend $100 to get your first customer sale, and that customer only spends $100. Well, that was a loss, because by the time you take your cost of food and wait staff and overhead and everything else, you paid $100, you got $100, but you lost your shirt. But if you can get that customer to come back 60 times, well, now that $100 investment in that customer was extraordinarily good. So you have to be tracking your lifetime customer value. Now, up front, that's a really fuzzy number at the best of times, because you're trying to predict the future, and it's not easy. But any number, even if you have to guess at some of the variables, is better than no number. And the last number, and this one amazes me, is that very few business owners actually think about what Dan Kennedy calls WA, which is wealth accumulation, and its related number, which is EIEND, which is the enough is enough number deficit. So wealth accumulation is that you're in business for a reason, and that reason is to make a profit so that when and if you decide to retire, you have enough money that you don't have to work again. So let's assume that number is $5 million. You should know exactly what you have put away to get to that $5 million total. And your EIEND number is the difference between the $5 million and the number you currently have. So if you have $800,000 socked away in investments and everything else, and your goal is $5 million, your EIEND number would be $4.2 million. And the EIEND is the number that you want to be looking at every single day, because that's the number that is going to motivate you to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. And it's essential that you keep track of that. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have questions about any of this, you will see a link down below. And if you go to it, I have a limited number of Dan Kennedy's No BS Ruthless Management books available. No charge. All I want you to do is cover the cost of getting them mailed to you, and just go through it. You'll find it's a very enlightening read, especially if you're a business owner. Thanks again. I'm Rick Buchert from Railgun Marketing. Have a great day.